Today, we're jumping into a story from the book of Genesis that honestly feels like it could be a modern political thriller. It's about a nation pushed to the absolute brink by a crisis, a leader who consolidates all the power, and the unbelievable price people will pay just to stay alive.
So let's set the scene. We're in ancient Egypt and the lands around it, and they're being crushed by a catastrophic famine. And listen, this isn't just a bad year for crops. The text says the entire land fainted by reason of the famine. Think about that. The whole society is just shutting down.
And that really gets to the core question of what we're looking at today. When it all comes down to it, when your very survival is on the line, what are you willing to give up? What's the final price tag on staying alive?
All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the famine itself. Then we'll zoom in on how one family managed to find a safe harbor in all the chaos. After that, we'll get to the heart of it, the desperate bargain an entire nation makes. We'll look at the new world that bargain creates, and then wrap up with a really personal promise between a father and his son.
Now here's the twist. Joseph, who's basically running the country for Pharaoh, saw this whole thing coming years ago. He had Egypt stockpile tons of grain, so the food is there. The problem is, the people have been suffering for so long, they're completely broke. They have no way to buy the food that's sitting right there in the storehouses. That phrase, fainted by reason of the famine, is just so telling, isn't it? It's not just about hunger. It's painting a picture of a total societal collapse. The economy's dead, people are weak, and the entire civilization is just teetering on the edge. But in the middle of this national disaster, Joseph has a very personal mission. His own family, his father, Jacob, and the same brothers who sold him into slavery years ago, they've shown up in Egypt, desperate for food. So Joseph, ever the strategist, sets a plan in motion. He brings his family before Pharaoh and tells them, hey, tell him you're shepherds. And it works. Pharaoh gives them Goshen, some of the best, most fertile land in Egypt, which also kind of keeps them separate from the Egyptians. And just like that, while a nation starves, Joseph's family is safe and well-fed. And right in the middle of all this high-stakes political drama, we get this incredibly raw, human moment. Pharaoh asks Jacob how old he is, and Jacob, at 130, basically says his life has been short and hard. It's just this weary, poignant reflection from a man who has been through so much and is now living through yet another crisis. Okay, so with his family taken care of, Joseph's attention snaps right back to the Egyptian people, and their situation has gone from bad to worse. They are about to make a series of deals that will change their country forever. And this didn't happen all at once. It was a gradual stripping away of everything they had. First, all their money went to the state. When that ran out, they traded their livestock, their entire livelihood. And finally, when there was literally nothing left to give, they offered the only things they had left, their land and their own freedom. This quote just captures the sheer terror of that first step. I mean, can you imagine a world where money, the very symbol of value and security, is suddenly useless? They're standing in front of Joseph with this simple, brutal plea. Our money's gone. Please don't let us die. And this is the final desperate gamble, the point of no return. They literally say, buy us, buy our land, buy our bodies, just give us food. In that moment, an entire population trades away their freedom and their future to become, for all intents and purposes, the property of the state. And Joseph accepts their offer. The people are saved from starving to death. But the nation that walks out of this famine is a completely different one. This crisis wasn't just weathered. It was used to completely restructure Egyptian society from the ground up. I mean, just look at the scale of this change. It's staggering. Before this, you had a nation of private landowners and independent farmers. After Joseph's plan, virtually all the land belongs to Pharaoh. The people have become tenants on land that used to be theirs, and they're now locked into a permanent tax system. Joseph makes this new reality the law. A permanent tax of 1/5, that's 20%, of everything they grow now goes straight to Pharaoh. And this wasn't just some emergency measure. Nope. This became the new foundation of Egypt's economy, cementing the state's absolute control. And that control was almost total. The only people who didn't have to sell their land were the priests, because they were already on Pharaoh's payroll. But for everybody else, the concept of private property was basically wiped out. The state became the landlord for an entire nation. So after this massive nation-altering event, the story does something really interesting. It zooms right back in, from the fate of millions to the final days of just one man, Joseph's father, Jacob.
So 17 years pass. Joseph's family has done very well in Egypt. They're safe, they're prosperous. But as Jacob lies on his deathbed, we learn that all the comfort and security in the world couldn't change who he fundamentally was. This is his dying wish, and it is so important. Think about it. He's lived in the best part of Egypt. His son is basically the king, but the one thing he wants is to not be buried there. He makes Joseph swear an oath to carry his body back to the family plot in Canaan. Egypt was a safe harbor, but it was never, ever home. And that leaves us with this incredible tension, right? On one hand, Joseph's plan saved millions from starvation and secured his family's future. But on the other, it turned a nation of free citizens into servants. Jacob's last request is this powerful reminder that even for the winners in this new system, security might come at the price of your identity. So the story isn't just asking about the price of survival. It's asking about the long-term cost of the solutions we choose in a crisis. When we trade freedom for security, what have we really gained? And what have we lost forever?